Hey guys, what's the crack? So today I'm going to be reviewing a musical I saw recently, which is Everybody's Talking About Jamie. I saw it in London. I think on the 16th of February. I saw two shows that day, and Everybody's Talking About Jamie was the second show I saw that day. Everybody's Talking About Jamie is based on a 2011 documentary by BBC Three. Interestingly, for this show, there is no cast album as of right now. There is a concept album which I was familiar with. I had listened to several of the songs. The story is a coming of age story based on Jamie New, who turned 16, and on his 16th birthday he receives a pair of heels from his mother, and from there he starts to delve into the whole world of drag. He wants to become a drag queen when he's older, but he faces a lot of opposition from certain people in his school, his father. It's a really nice story. It's not, like I said in my vlog where I went to see the show, it's not particularly groundbreaking, I feel, the musical. But I do feel like the topic is very relevant. The topic is very relevant to our day and age, and it's something that hasn't quite been seen on the West. I know we've got Kinky Boots and there is drag queens in that, but the whole story of those drag queens was that these drag queens are already there, they're already established in that world. In Everybody's Talking About Jamie, Jamie is trying to become a drag queen. The cast is I love the cast. I have to start and say the cast was fantastic. I had the entire full cast on, except we had a swing on Luke Bayer. Not to be confused with Luke Baker, who plays another role, but Luke Bayer, who's on for Levi. The whole entire cast was very, very good. In the best way possible, the whole cast felt very green almost, in the sense that you had a lot of people making their West End debuts, and the cast felt young, which really was fitting to this show because it's primarily based in a school and the students in Jamie's life. So first we have John McCree, who's playing Jamie New. John McCree was fantastic. He just really embodied the role. He really is a complete star performer. I could not critique him in any way, shape or form. His singing was great, his dancing was great, his acting was very good, and he just really felt like a star on that stage. Jamie's mother's name is Margaret, who's played by Josie Walker. Again, I couldn't fault her. She was a bit more of a West End vet from what I could tell. She had a lot more experience. She sang her song that she sings in the show, He's My Boy. She came off stage crying, like she poured her heart and soul into that role, and I genuinely think that she very much wraps everything up nicely. A real standout for me was the role of Pretty, who's Jamie's best friend, who's played by Lucy Shorthouse. Now both Lucy Shorthouse and John McCree recently, this week, won What's on Stage Awards for their performances in the show. But the role of Pretty was so nice for me because it was so nice to see diversity on the West End stage. Like you had a woman on stage wearing a hijab, which I haven't seen before in a West End musical, or Broadway musical for that matter. And she had a beautiful singing voice. She was a fantastic actress. She sings a gorgeous number called It Means Beautiful in the second act, which just really was sung beautifully. She put so much emotion into it, and with everything going around her, including the set, the lighting design, it just was beautiful to see. Another role I really liked, her actor, was Luke Baker, playing the role of Dean, the bully, the guy who gives Dean most of the difficulty during the show. I really enjoyed how throughout the show, and I hope this doesn't spoil it for anyone, I thought that a lot of the tension between Jamie and the role of Dean was that there was like a lot of sexual tension, and I kept thinking, oh god, this is definitely going to like be a moment at the end where, oh, he's bullying him because he's gay. And thankfully it wasn't that. It was just he actually was a bit of a dick who had a lot to learn. And for me, especially growing up as a gay person, like obviously I've had that kind of problems in my life where I've met people who just disregard me for being gay, which isn't the only reason why people might disregard me, but people might disregard me for being gay. So it was nice to see that on stage, and then the role of the character of Dean learning that he can get over this dislike towards Jamie, actually learn something from Jamie, and the way the show ends is actually very, very nice between the two of them. But I did think for a long time there was a sexual tension that was going to be like, oh, I actually like you, that's why I'm bullying you, like that whole classroom thing. The score is done by a man named Dan Gillespie-Sells, who you might know from the band The Feeling. Dan Gillespie-Sells really hits it out of the park. This whole musical, and people are always going to, I feel like, associate with Dear Evan Hansen. There's something about the two musicals that are quite similar. It is probably primarily because they're both based on young men coming of age. But Dan Gillespie-Sells really wrote a beautiful, beautiful score. It's very cohesive throughout. There's very few numbers in the show that I didn't like. There's some fantastic numbers. I would love for there to be an actual cast album, because while the concept album is good, I really want to hear the cast singing these numbers. Plus, the concept album isn't the finalized version of the music for the show. The musical opened up to some fantastic reviews. I got some 4 and 5 star reviews, which was obvious. Once you see the show, you'll understand why it gets 3 reviews. The show feels very fresh. It feels, as you watch it, you're thinking, this isn't something that's been on the West End before. It's very green. I love a good success story of a show that opens off Broadway or a regional production or opens somewhere in England, and then it goes from there to transfer to the West End. Like, there's something very nice about those small musicals that become big. Like, you look at Matilda, and Matilda started off as a very small musical, playing in the Royal Shakespeare, done by the Royal Shakespeare Company, and then it transferred from there to the West End, and it became a huge hit. Same as I talked about Jamie, I do feel like the show is slowly building an audience. I purchased 2 day seats. Actually, I believe the day I got there, they actually didn't have day seats left. What they did was they sold the best available seats for £25. I was, I think, row 3, like the 3rd or 4th row from the front of the stage. The day seats, I'm just told, are front row. Don't think I'd recommend the day seats because the front row, the stage is very, very high, so you would miss parts of it, I believe. If you're that little bit further back, it's that bit better, but definitely, like, when I was watching the front row, people in the front row, I did feel like they were very much tilting their head back to watch the entire show. In a weird way, the show felt long, but not in a bad way. It felt long, like I was so clued in that I didn't want it to end, but in the best way. It feels long because there's so much happening, and the dialogue in the show is, they're long scenes. They're really, there's a lot of character development. I'll say the book is fantastic. The script is very, very well done, and you really get to know the characters. What does this mean for the future of the production? Obviously, it's just extended in the West End to October 2017, which is very, very well deserved. There's obviously people speaking, is there going to be a possible Broadway transfer? And that's a really hard one to say. If it's going to go to Broadway, I feel like it has to go to possibly not even a commercial Broadway house, but off Broadway to maybe second stage and have a smaller house. It's not a big production. There's no way, there's no two ways about it. It's not a big production. It's a small production that belongs in a small Broadway house. Possibly maybe the Court or the Lyceum or even the Hudson Theatre would be a great spot for them, but anything bigger than that, any medium-sized theatre, I just think would be too big and it would swallow the show up. It's a very intimate production. It fits perfectly into the Apollo Theatre. I'd never been to the Apollo Theatre before, so I didn't know what it was like on the inside, but since the accident a couple of years ago, they've really renovated the place. It looks gorgeous now, I have to say. The set isn't overly big, and the band is on stage. You can see the band there at the back of the set. Overall, I was hooked on the show within the first 2 minutes. There was no point in the show where I was bored, and I love that about it. I love any show where I'm hooked from the first minute or 2, and the first number, I don't even know it, had me totally hooked. The choreography was fantastic, the staging was very, very nice, the singing was beautiful, as was the choreography. Again, I didn't feel like my attention wavered, or like, I don't feel like I was looking anywhere else during the show. I was constantly staring at what was happening on stage. I would thoroughly recommend you go see this show. It's run at the Apollo Theatre in the West End. The night that I saw it, the theatre was totally full. So I'm hoping or presuming that the ticket sales are really building up, and they just obviously announced the extension in the West End, and they just are going off new awards that they got this week. I do think that this show should have a healthy run in the West End. It could also tour very well, and I do wish that, or you know, I would love if it went over to Broadway, but it would have to find the perfect theatre in Broadway for this show, or else just go off Broadway and go to second stage. Anyways guys, I hope you really enjoyed this review. Make sure to subscribe, like and comment, and don't forget to press the notifications button up the top, otherwise you will not see my videos and it's going to like hide down the bottom. Thanks.